Good morning, students. I hope you all are fine and safe. Blessings of grace and peace be with you today and every day. Today's thought: a beautiful life does not just happen. It is built daily by prayers, humility, sacrifice, and love. So please follow these in your life and lead a happy life. Dear students, you all are preparing for the midterm test, isn't it? So for the midterm test, we have second chapter and fourth chapter. Already I sent the summary of fourth chapter, inverse trigonometric function. So today I am sending the summary of second chapter, complex numbers. So you revise both the chapters thoroughly and write the test in the evening. All the best. First we can see what are complex numbers. So first natural number means 1, 2, 3 etc. like this it will be going on. Along with the natural number if you include 0 it is a whole number. Along with the whole number if you include the negative values minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 etc. it is integer. Along with the integers if you take the fractions that is p by q form where q is not equal to 0. And if you see in the decimal form the decimal should be a terminating decimal. You see here 0.25, only 2 digits we have, after that it is not going, isn't it? And it can be a recurring decimal. Recurring decimal means 0.3 bar, that is 0.33, like this the same term is repeated. So these are said to be rational numbers. Then irrational numbers. Irrational numbers will be opposite to rational number. So here we cannot write the terms in the form p by q. And here the decimal will be going on, that is root 2 if you see means 3.414 like that it will be going on. Pi is 3.14 etc. Okay, so these are said to be irrational numbers. Then imaginary numbers. Imaginary numbers means here we will have I term. I means root of minus 1 value we don't know, that is only taken as I. So in imaginary numbers we will have I term. And complex number means all these numbers together is taken as the complex number. Generally if you see means complex numbers means it will be of the form a plus ib where a and b are real numbers. Imaginary unit, that is root of minus 1 is denoted by I. So I square if you take means it is what when we square this root of minus 1 it will become minus 1. So I square value is minus 1. Now we can see the powers of imaginary root I. So I power 0 the value is 1. I power 1 it is I. I square it is minus 1. I cube can be written as I square into I, isn't it? I square is minus 1. So minus 1 into I is minus I. I power 4 is I square into I square. I square is minus 1. So minus 1 into minus 1 it will become plus 1. Then if you take negative power means I power minus 1. It is 1 by I. We should not have I term in the denominator. Okay, so we have to remove that. So multiply the numerator and denominator by I. So I by I square. I square is minus 1. That minus 1 you can take it to the numerator. So minus I. Same way I power minus 2. It can be written as 1 by I square. I square means what? Minus 1. So 1 by minus 1 means it is minus 1. I cube. So it is 1 by I cube. So it is, you see here I cube value is minus I. So 1 by minus I you'll get. So if you multiply by I and I in the numerator and denominator like this, you'll get the answer as I. Next I power minus 4. It is 1 by I power 4. I power 4 value is 1. So 1 by 1 it is equal to 1 and it is equal to I power 4. In general, I power 4n is equal to 1 for every n belong to integer. Result, the sum of 4 consecutive powers of I is 0. Okay, that is I power n plus I power n plus 1 plus I power n plus 2 plus I power n plus 3 is equal to 0 for every n belong to capital N. That is, if you take I plus I square plus I cube plus I power 4, its value is 0. Remark, multiplication of complex number z by I. So take the complex number like this, z is equal to x plus iy, multiply this by I. So I into x plus iy. Take this I inside, it will be ix. I square means its value is minus 1, so minus y you'll get. So here you see x and y are positive means this complex number is in the first quadrant. Then I into z means here x value is positive, y value is negative. So x is positive and y is negative means it will be in the second quadrant. So what they have given here is when we rotate a complex number towards that is when we multiply a complex number by I, then that complex number is rotated towards 90 degree. Okay, so in general multiplication of a complex number z by I successively gives a rotation of 90 degree in the counterclockwise direction. So listen here. So if I am taking the complex number z in the first quadrant, and if I am multiplying the complex number by I means then this complex number is rotated towards 90 degree. Then if I take this IZ complex number and if I multiply by I means what I'll get I square into Z I'll get. Okay. So then this complex number IZ complex number is rotated towards 90 degree. So like that it will be going on. Rectangular form. We can represent the complex number in rectangular form. A complex number which is of the form x plus iy or x plus yi. I you can write it in front or at the back. Where x and y are real numbers and here x is called the real part and y is called the imaginary part of the complex number. So when you take the imaginary part you should not say yi, only the coefficient of I you have to take, that is y. Next definition, equal complex numbers. Two complex numbers are said to be equal if their real parts are equal as well as imaginary parts are equal. Modulus of a complex number. Take a complex number in the rectangular form, that is z is equal to x plus iy. Then the modulus of z, it is denoted like this, and its formula is root of x square plus y square. That is the square of the real part plus the square of the imaginary part. Then if we have a complex number z and if it is rotated about theta radian in the counterclockwise direction, that is anti-clockwise direction means, then the new complex number will be of this form, z into e power I theta. Properties of modulus of a complex number. Modulus of z and modulus of z bar will be same. Modulus of z1 plus z2 is less than or equal to modulus of z1 plus modulus of z2. It is said to be triangle inequality. Modulus of z1 z2 is equal to modulus of z1 into modulus of z2. Modulus of z1 minus z2 is greater than or equal to modulus of z1 minus modulus of z2. Then modulus of z1 by z2 is equal to modulus of z1 divided by modulus of z2, where z2 is not equal to 0. Modulus of z power n is equal to modulus of z power n. That is power you can take outside modulus, where n is an integer. Real part of z is always less than or equal to modulus of z. Same way, imaginary part is also less than or equal to modulus of z. Property, the distance between the 2 points z1 and z2 in complex plane is modulus of z1 minus z2. So listen, if we have two complex numbers and if you want to find the distance between them is, this is the formula. Modulus of z1 minus z2, and it is equal to root of x1 minus x2 the whole square plus y1 minus y2 the whole square. Then remark, first one is modulus of z1 minus z2 is less than or equal to modulus of z1 plus modulus of z2. Modulus of z1 minus modulus of z2 is less than or equal to modulus of z1 plus z2 less than or equal to modulus of z1 plus modulus of z2. And the last one is modulus of z1 minus modulus of z2 less than or equal to modulus of z1 minus z2 less than or equal to modulus of z1 plus modulus of z2. Complex numbers obey the laws of indices. Z power m into z power n is equal to z power m plus n. Z power m divided by z power n is equal to z power m minus n, where n is not equal to 0. That is, z is not equal to 0. Z power m the whole power n is equal to z power m into n. z1 into z to the whole power m is equal to z1 power m into z2 power m. Next, conjugate of a complex number. You take a complex number of this form x plus iy, then its conjugate is x minus iy. That is, we have to change the sign of the coefficient of I. Properties of complex conjugates. z1 plus z2 the whole bar is equal to z1 bar plus z2 bar. z1 minus z2 the whole bar is equal to z1 bar minus z2 bar. z1 into z2 bar equal to z1 bar into z2 bar. z1 divided by z2 the whole bar equal to z1 bar by z2 bar, and this z2 complex number is not equal to 0. Real part of z is equal to z plus z bar by 2. Imaginary part of z is equal to z minus z bar by 2y. Z power n the whole bar is equal to z bar power n, where n is an integer. So you can take bar inside and power outside. Z is real if and only if z is equal to z bar. Z is purely imaginary if and only if z is equal to minus z bar. Z double bar is equal to z. That is, if you take the conjugate 2 times means you will get the original complex number. Polar and Euler form of a complex number. So generally we will write a complex number like this, x plus iy, and it is the rectangular form. And you can write it in this form also, r into cos theta plus I sin theta. This is said to be the polar form. And here this cos theta plus I sin theta, you can write it like this, cis theta. So cis theta means it is cos theta plus I sin theta. Now you can see the principal argument of a complex number. So alpha is equal to tan inverse of modulus of y by x. If the given complex number lies in the first quadrant, then theta will be equal to alpha. If the given complex number lies in the second quadrant, that is this z, then theta is equal to pi minus alpha. In the third quadrant means we have theta equal to alpha minus pi, otherwise you can write it as minus pi plus alpha. And in the fourth quadrant, theta value is equal to minus alpha. Then argument of z, that is the general argument, is equal to the principal argument. Capital A if you use means that is the principal argument, that is theta plus 2n pi, where n is an integer. Next, Euler form of complex number. Generally, we will write the complex number like this, x plus iy. It is the rectangular form, and this you can write it as r into cos theta plus I sin theta. That is the polar form. And if you write this as r into, instead of cos theta plus I sin theta, e power I theta you can write. So this is said to be the Euler form, that is r into e power I theta form, and it is equal to this form, r into cos theta plus I sin theta. De Morvis theorem and its applications. De Morvis theorem means given any complex number cos theta plus I sin theta and any integer n, cos theta plus I sin theta the whole power n can be written as cos n theta plus I sin n theta. So what is in the power, you can take it near this angle, inside you can take. Then corollary, from this 4 formulas you can derive, that is cos theta minus I sin theta the whole power n is equal to, so if you have minus in between also, this power you can take it inside, cos n theta minus I sin n theta. Then cos theta plus I sin theta the whole power minus n. So here also this minus n you can take it inside. So cos of minus theta is cos theta, so it will become cos n theta. Sin of minus theta is minus sin theta, so you will get minus I sin n theta. Next one, cos theta minus I sin theta the whole power minus n. If you have minus in between as well as in the power, in the right hand side fully it will be plus. Cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Then fourth one, sin theta plus I cos theta, it is equal to, you can take I outside. So if you take I outside, first you will get cos theta. Here it will be 1 by I. 1 by I means it is minus I. So you can write it as minus I sin theta. Next one is cube roots of unity. So cube roots of unity, already we have seen the values. What are the values we have for cube root of unity? So its values are 1, then minus 1 by 2 plus I root 3 by 2, minus 1 by 2 minus I root 3 by 2. Okay. So in general, the omega value is, omega is said to be the cube root of unity here. And generally when we take omega, it is cis 2 pi by n. That is cos 2 pi by n plus I sin 2 pi by n. Here cube root of unity means n value is 3. So cis 2 pi by 3 we will get, and the value of this is minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2. So for cube root of unity, the omega value is cis 2 pi by 3, or it is minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2. Same way we can see for fourth roots of unity. So here you see the fourth roots of unity are 1, minus 1, I and minus I. Here the omega value, the general omega value is cis 2 pi by n, and here fourth root of unity means n value is equal to 4. So you can cancel 1 2, cis pi by 2 you will get. The value of cis pi by 2 is I. Okay, so for fourth root of unity, the value of omega is 2 cis 2 pi by 4 or cis pi by 2 you can say, or I value. Okay, and cube root of unity if you see means all the three values forms a equilateral triangle. Okay, it forms a equilateral triangle, and here the fourth roots of unity forms a square. All the four sides will be equal and it forms a square. And if you take the next root, that is fifth roots of unity means all the five sides will be equal, so it will become a pentagon. Then sixth root of unity means it will become a hexagon. Okay, like that it will be going on. Now you can see the nth root of unity. So here 1 omega, omega square, omega cube, etc. up to omega power n minus 1 we have, where omega is cis 2 pi by n, or you can write it as e power I 2 pi by n. Okay. So generally if you say the nth root of unity are 1 omega, omega square, etc. up to omega power n minus 1. And here we have note, that is all the nth roots of unity are in GP. Okay. So you see here what we have, 1 omega, omega square, etc. up to omega power n minus 1 we have, isn't it? So this forms a GP. The first term, that is the A value is 1, and the common ratio is what? T2 by T1. So omega by 1, it is omega. Same way if you take a T3 by T2, it is also omega. Okay. So all the nth roots of unity forms a GP, that is a geometrical progression with the first term A1 and common ratio omega. The next one is sum of nth roots of unity is always equal to 0. So here the nth roots of unity are 1 omega, omega square, etc. up to omega power n minus 1. So if you add all the roots means its value will be equal to 0. Okay. And if you take for cube root of unity means what are the roots you'll get? Only the first three roots you'll get. 1 omega, omega square. So if you add all the three roots, 1 plus omega square, its value is 0. Same way for fourth root of unity, what are the roots you'll get? 4 roots you'll get. That is 1 omega, omega square, omega cube. So here also if you add all the 4 values, it will become 0. Okay, that only they are given here. Generally when we say sum of nth roots of unity is always equal to 0. The next one is product of nth roots of unity is equal to minus 1 power n minus 1. So when you multiply these roots, its value will be equal to minus 1 power n minus 1. So if you take a cube root of unity, so cube root of unity means what? 1 omega square, isn't it? So you multiply all the terms. It is 1 into omega square. It is omega cube. Omega cube means the value is 1 for cube root of unity. So here you see minus 1 power n value, you replace it as 3. So 3 minus 1, it is 2. Minus 1 the whole square, it is 1. So that answer only you will get here. So if you take fourth roots of unity means what? 1 into omega square into omega cube. So if you multiply here, it is omega power 6 you will get. So omega power 6 means here it is fourth root of unity. Fourth root of unity means omega power 4 is only 1. So you have to write omega power 6 as omega power 4 plus 2. So 1 into omega square, it will become minus 1. Okay. So here you see minus 1 power n value is 4. 4 minus 1, it is 3. So minus 1 power 3 means it is minus 1. Now the last point, all the nth roots of unity lie on the circumference of a circle whose center is at the origin and radius equal to 1. And these roots divide the circle into n equal parts and form a polygon of n sides. So listen, all the nth roots of unity, that is cube root of unity, fourth root of unity or fifth root of unity, anything. Okay, all the nth roots of unity lies on the circumference of the circle and its origin, that is its center is origin and the radius is 1. That is, it is a unit circle. And the roots divide the circle into n equal parts and it forms a polygon of n sides. So what I said now, cube root of unity means there we'll have 3 equal sides. That is, it will be an equilateral triangle. Fourth root of unity means it is a square. Fifth root of unity means a pentagon. Sixth root of unity means hexagon, etc. And here equilateral triangle means all the 3 sides are equal. Okay. And the angle that is formed at the center is 360 degree. One whole rotation 360 degree will be there. So 360 degree divided by 3 means it is 120 degree. So in equilateral triangle, the central angle will be 120 degree for each complex number. Same way for a square, if you see means we'll get each angle as 90 degree. Okay. Dear students, prepare well for the test and write the test. All the best. Thank you.